Planning bridges the gap between what you are and what you want to be. And planning is always a future course of action. Plan for all possible things which can actually ruin your project, but still you can actually reduce what? Uncertainty. General plan applying to specific time frame in which a specific series of operation will be carried out, assessed and measured. That is a short range plan. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Vidhyaashram from the Department of Commerce and Management in Vidhyaashram First Aid College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to all the students for the second chapter and the session number 1. The second chapter is all about planning. Now, what exactly happens in planning? Now, what the meaning of planning, types of planning, planning process, all that you're gonna understand here in this session. Now, what exactly planning is all about? Now, I have written so many books wherein I have given beautiful definition, very easy definitions for you people. So you can go and actually you can learn so many definitions regarding planning itself. The best definition which I felt was actually given by Harold and Kuntz, where they say that planning bridges the gap between what you are and what you want to be. And planning is always a future course of action. Now, when we go with planning, what happens is, though planning is a future course of action, planning is very rigid. And to make a plan, it is also very costly. So that is what the planning is all about. But once you do planning, you are supposed to stay with the plan. So here we have given few definitions. That is, planning is looking ahead and chalking out the future course of action to be followed. And here planning is a preparatory step. That is the first kind of a step, and that's the reason planning is the primary function of management. So here we will go with the systematic activities that determines when, how and who is going to perform the specific job. That is what planning is all about. Now here we have the meaning according to Abhilash Chandra. Planning is continuous process. Planning is always a continuous process. All the functions of management is a continuous process. Planning is a continuous process which precedes the efforts and action. You should always know what exactly going to happen, as it determines the kind of decisions and activities required for the attainment of the desired goal. So you should know what exactly the goal is and how you are supposed to take that. How is that you are supposed to meet that goal? That is what the planning which you are supposed to go with. So after the first definition, we go with the second definition. Now in the second definition, it is given by George R. Terry. Now what George R. Terry says is, planning is the selecting and relating of facts and making and using of assumptions. That is what he says. That is, you need to go with the facts, as well as there are so many assumptions which happens in a planning. Even that is supposed to be taken into consideration regarding the future in the visualization and formulation of proposed activities believed necessary to achieve desired results, is what Terry actually wants to tell you people. But before going with these two things of definition, I told you one of the beautiful definition given by Harold and Kuntz, that is, planning is a future course of action which bridges the gap between what you are and what you want to be. That is a very simple definition given by Harold and Kuntz. So go with those definitions. The next one here we have is planning process. Let me tell you students here, when we study planning process in the UG level, we go very deep into it. But there are so many students who have already learned the planning process in their business studies in commerce. Don't get confused with those two. Both are correct, but here we go in depth. Now, example, if you go with the PU syllabus of the business studies where you have steps in planning or planning process, you have 7 steps. Namely, the first one is setting objectives. Exactly like setting objectives, we also have something called establishing objectives. Now here you have establishment of objective, the same point. Setting objectives, establishment is the same. In the second point, we go with developing premises. Here also we go with developing premises, that is establishing planning premises. The third one in your PU, it is all about something which is like identifying alternate course of action. But that is not here in the UG. Now here in the UG, you are supposed to go with choice of alternative course of action. But here you will identify, but choice is there. Then you will evaluate the alternate course of action. You will get formulation of derivative plan. Then the last thing is securing cooperation. You need to understand that you need to take the entire employees, the entire people who are there in the project, their coordination you are supposed to take, and only then you can go for the selecting the plan, that is selecting the alternative. The minute you go with selecting alternative, now you need to implement it. And the last one is called follow up or appraisal of plan. So this is what the difference between the PU as well as degree. Now here the main thing is what? Securing cooperation. Formulating the derivative plans is what you are supposed to do. What exactly this plan gonna take us? Will it definitely reach the goal, or if it reaches the goal, what is the time or the tenure to reach that goal is also set by planning premises. Next one we have is major benefits of planning. What are the benefits of planning? The first one here is planning provides direction. Planning reduces the risk of uncertainty. Very true. But one thing we need to understand, uncertainty is certain. When we know that, what is that we are supposed to do? We need to plan for all possible uncertainty, but still we cannot control the macro. So what happens is, plan for all possible things which can actually ruin your project, but still you can actually reduce what? Uncertainty. Planning reduces overlapping and wasteful activities. Planning promotes innovative ideas. Planning helps in coordination. Planning establishes the standards of controlling. It guides decision making. So these are the benefits of planning. It provides a basis of decentralization. What do you mean by this word? Decentralization. Distribution of authority and responsibility. The power will be in many hands. That is what the thing is. So planning will actually give you what? A sense of decentralization. Planning provides economy, reduces uncertainty in operations. See, uncertainty in business is different. Uncertainty in operations are different. Minimizes impulsion and arbitrary decisions. It's a kingpin function. When I say kingpin function, without planning, the functions of management is meaningless. So that's why it is what? It is a primary functions of management. Resource allocation, it is there. Resource use efficiency is more. Then integration is also more. So these are the benefits of planning. It can come for 10 marks. That is importance of planning or benefits of planning. Purpose of planning. What are the purpose? Why is that planning needed if you go with it? It facilitates accomplishment of objective, ensures economy in operation, precedes control, and provides for future contingency. Facility optimization, that is the optimum utilization of resources, prerequisites of other managerial functions. Management is there. That means it is pervasive. Planning should also be there. That's why it is called all pervasive functions. Coordinates the activity and provides for delegation of authority. What do you mean by delegation? Delegation in the sense transferring authority and responsibility. But I tell you this, students, delegation is temporary. The minute the other person comes back, you are supposed to give all the powers to the same person who already had it. So it is delegation of authority. Types of plan. Now we have understood there are so many types of plans. For example, managerial planning comprises various types of plans which are known as elements of good planning. So some of the important are given here. The first one is all about objective, policy, procedure, rules, which we have already studied in our syllabus of business studies. Now whenever you go for planning, this is what the diagram which you were writing, right? Here there are 8 kind of things which you used to write. Say example, now here if we start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we'll have a few more, 7 and 8. O, S, P, P, M, R, P, D, if you go with it. that is objective, strategy, program, policy, method, rules. Then you have one more P, that is all about procedure. And the last one is, here it is B and D, that is budget. Budget is something which is very much needed for the planning. That is the types of plan. So you have objective, strategy, method, program, procedure, rules, and budget. That is what the types of plans is all about. Strategy, programs, projects, budget, and forecast. This is something which is new for you people. Forecast in the sense, whenever you plan, planning is always about future course. You should also see the vision and the mission and the forecast, whether it can happen or it cannot happen. Specific types of plan. There are 5 specific types of plan. Namely, the first one here is short range plan, long range plan. Now, what exactly short range plan is? Short range plan and the long range plan, you can actually get it for 2 marks. That's the reason I have given you here the brief introduction about it. General plan applying to specific time frame in which a specific series of operation will be carried out, assessed and measured. That is a short range plan. Long range in the sense it will take little more time, the tenure is more. That is the long range plans. The next one is operational plan and standing plans. Now, when it comes to operational plans are the most specific subset of strategic planning, describing the specific, that's why it is operational, specific objectives and the milestones a business should consider in executing each particular operation. Whenever they go for any operation, they are supposed to see to it that it is being achieved. That is what the operational plan goes with. Standing plan is based on operations that must be repeated indefinitely within a business or corporation. Standing plans govern the process that occurs regularly. So whichever goes with regularly, you will go with standing plan. You will not change that. And the last type of plan which we have is a single-use plan. So when we go with single-use plan, what exactly the single use is? The name itself says that it has been used or it should be used only once. So there is no repetition. So the more and more repetitions if you go, that is not called as single use plan. That will be like a routine plans, right? But here is single use in the sense you will only go with once, and that is when it is all done. So this is a plan which is very, very important to all the people because you cannot mess with these type of plans. The next one is features of planning. Now, what are the features of planning? The first one is it's a primary function. We have already explained you about it. Pervasive in the sense it is all about universally accepted. Everywhere you need planning. It's a future oriented, goal oriented, continuous intellectual process. The more of brainstorming ideas should happen whenever you go for planning. That's the reason planning is very costly. Right? It's very, very costly. Not a small companies can afford for it. Planning aims at efficiency and planning should be flexible. Usually it won't be flexible. Planning is always rigid, but you need to make it feasible. So that is what the features will be. Now, characteristics of planning. What are the characteristics if somebody asks you for 5 marks or if they ask you for 10 marks? Intellectual activity, again, the same kind of a features itself. Primary functions of management, forward-looking process because it is future course of action, goal-oriented process, and planning is continuous process. All the functions of management, planning, organizing, staffing, directing, everything is a continuous process. Flexible process, pervasive, foundation of successful action, coordination and cooperation is there. And the last one is the conscious process. So it is a process where people need to be very conscious about it, what exactly they're gonna plan for it. They should also know that if this plan will work out, what is that process? If it will not happen, what exactly is an alternative? So all these things you are supposed to go with. The next is limitations of planning. See here, in the merits we said flexibility, but in the demerit what it is? Rigidity. So you have both the ways, that is like flexible as well as rigid. Misdirected planning is there, time consuming, probabilities in planning is more actually, false sense of security, and the last one here is what? Planning is expensive. I told you before, right? Planning is always expensive. Not a small company can afford for it. A multinational company will definitely go for a planning. They'll have a strategic plans for each and every projects which they're gonna carry. And the next topic here we have is decision making. What exactly decision making is? According to Abhilash Chandra, that is me. Now, what I have given the definition, I have taken a copyright of it. Decision making is a process of making a choice from an alternative course of action at which plans, guidelines, and goals are translated into concrete movements. If anybody gonna ask you a question, that is what is decision making, you can write this as an example. So whenever you go for decision making, there should be many choices. In that, you are supposed to evaluate each and every choices, and then whichever is more profitable to you, whichever you feel that it is convenient, whichever you feel that you can go for this because that is the best course of action, after evaluating, you need to select it and make it a concrete valued decision. So that is what decision making is all about. A friend of mine, usually he asked me a question that I have only one option to go for, I can't decide on it. So my only request to all of them is, when you have only one kind of a choice, that is not decision making. You should have more choices, more alternative, only then you can select at least any one which is benefit for you. This is what decision making, which is for 2 marks. Very easily you people can get a question, what is decision making? You can write this as a meaning as well as a definition. So thank you so much here, students. Any doubts you people have, please do call us. We are always there to help you. Thank you, and I'll see you when I see you.